Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a three. And in this particular video, I want to talk about whether you, as a graduate student, should actually work with a research advisor who has some sort of administrative or service role. So, if you don't know, I'm a professor of innovation, strategy, and entrepreneurship, and then created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. So, I created this sort of sharing economy proofreading platform because it was the problem that I personally had. I needed some help and needed some feedback on my writing. So I created this platform, but then I had to figure out a way to get the word out for it. So I wanted to give back as much as I can in terms of YouTube videos and then, answering different questions and things like that. Because there's lots of people that have all of these questions. They're just like me and trying to bumbling through graduate school and they can't figure it out, right? So it was really tricky for me to go through graduate school. And so this question was asked of somebody. So specifically, this question was asked of somebody. And I have one rule for you. That one rule is just go out for the person that asked this question. Just go out and do something nice within the next hour of watching this video. That's it. I just want you to go and do something nice to somebody just randomly. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be your grandmother. It could be your parents. You send them a note saying that you actually love them. Who does that these days? And that's actually really nice and really kind to do that. Or go out, maybe just go and pick up some garbage outside. That's it. Real simple things. That's all I want you to do in the next hour. Just something super simple. And you can put notes in the videos if you want about this experience. You'll find out it's more for you than it is for me. I guarantee it. And if you don't want to, that's fine as well. So should you actually, as a graduate student, work with somebody that is in an administrative role? Should you look for advisors that are doing administrative or service roles? And what do I mean by that? I think, so first of all, administrative roles, the way that we sort of think about them in the research realm or in universities, is that you can do service to the community, like the local town that would be working for United Way, for example. It could be service for the college, the university itself, or within the college itself, or you could do service that could be you're a department chair. Somebody's working on a department chair. Another one could be, that they are they're doing community or doing service for or administrative roles within the broader academy. So it might be working in my field in management, might be working on something with the Academy of Management, for example, which is a large conference. There's like 16,000 people that go to it every year. So maybe you're leading something there. And should you actually be working with somebody that has those sort of administrative roles? I think that there's pros and cons to them. And the quick answer, and if you just want to stop it right now, the quick answer is that you just ask the advisors what they think and where they are seeing themselves go. And that's it. That's all I would recommend. But there's pros and cons. And if you could stop the video now if you want. But anyways, there's pros and cons to doing these administrative roles or working with somebody in these administrative roles. The first one is they're going to have access to research funds that a lot of people can't get access to because they are politically connected. They know where these little pots of money are within a university, and they can probably get those pots of money. The other thing is that they have connections with different university people around either the campus, and I've seen this multiple times, people that are very senior and they're doing administrative roles. They just have a lot of connections because they have been around for a long time. They know a lot of people. And these little loose connections can actually be very beneficial. There's actually a guy, Mark Grenovetter, who did research on this. He's kind of a sociologist, but he works in a business school. And, he did a lot of stuff where it's pretty influential in terms of how we understand networks. And it's really about these loose ties that get you a lot of opportunities. And that's really important. So the other thing to think about is what's going to happen is that they're going to rely on you a lot more to do your work independently. And that's just because they don't have a lot of time for you, unfortunately. And that's kind of the trade-off. A major trade-off is they're going to have little face-to-face one-on-one time. So assistant professors make great sort of people that you need to work with on a regular basis because they will meet with you on a regular basis. They have the time. But people that are more senior, they have more administrative roles, they're not going to have the time. Unfortunately, they just have a lot more other commitments that are going on. I've heard of people you have to schedule months in advance before you can actually work with them. They're really famous people, and working with them just even a little bit benefits you tremendously. But I've heard of that happening where you have to schedule 6 months or 6 weeks in advance just to work with those particular people. Another thing that's important, sort of a fourth thing that's really important to think about, is that sometimes these administrative people that are doing administrative roles, because they're not on the ground doing the research, they sometimes are out of the loop in terms of what is current in the research. And that happens pretty quickly. If they haven't published anything in, about 10 years, and 10 years it seems like a really short time, but, in sort of academic research time, that is not right. Like that is light years from what is really truly going on within the academic research. And it could be way, they just could be off the mark in terms of what the expectations are in terms of doing research and publishing and getting a job and stuff like that. And it just takes a lot of time to be an active researcher. It takes a lot of reading, it takes a lot of time to be current within the literature. And it just takes, a matter of 5 to 10 years to lose what is current and what is relevant within the academic literature. And another thing that's important, and something that you will notice with administrators, professors and administrators, they tend to be very, very nice. And the reason is that if they are mean people, nobody's going to ask them to be in an administrative role because they don't want to deal with those kind of people. And there might be an administrative role if they're mean, and there might be an administrative role temporarily, but then they might sort of lose that privilege, right? It's kind of a privilege to be in that. So they're going to be more politically astute. They're going to be really nice people. So it might be actually you might have really nice meetings and very productive meetings with them because they can get to the point. I've seen, so the trade-off is, and this is what I would recommend, is first of all, I would just ask people where they see themselves in the role that they are in that relationship. So that's an important thing. And you can also go back, and there's two other indicators I'd recommend for you to do, because sometimes what they think is not in line with what is currently going on. The other indicator is looking at their current research trajectory and what they've done. So just look in their resume and see if they've actually done research in the last, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. This means, are they going and doing research presentations? Are they actively doing research publications or working on research publications with other people? I've seen administrators do wonderful things, people that are truly famous for their research efforts, and then they do a really good job administratively. And it does take away a little bit, but they're still doing amazing things, right? I've seen the editors of journals being very, very research productive. I've seen, at the same time, I've seen people that are doing really heavy administrative roles within the academy, and they are doing very amazing research. I've also seen people that are, doing very heavy, maybe they're the dean at a school, for example, and they're still research productive and they're kind of pushing things forward. Now they have to juggle a lot more things, but at the same time, they're still able to do those things. They're just usually talented people if they could do that. If you see those signals, that's positive. That's actually a good thing. And then the last thing that I would recommend for you to do is go and talk to their previous PhD students and see, and they're going to have PhD students by that time because they have, they're generally more senior within the university, and they should have a couple of PhD students before they are getting into that role and looking for supervising you. And just ask them, or ask the PhD students what their experience was. And if it was a really positive experience, that might be a good thing, right? And that might help you out. If it's not, then, you can choose to do something else, right? Or work with somebody else, and just treat this as a job interview. And sorry, that's my doggy walking around. Treat this as it's sort of a job interview for them, right? Like you are sort of fishing what they are about before you work with them. Because often what you don't realize is you have these very long relationships. And I didn't realize this when I started out. You end up having a very long relationship, like years and years with somebody. It's more like a marriage. Once you start working with those people, particularly in an advisory or supervisor role, and it comes back, right? So I worked with one of my master supervisor recently came back and worked with that person because I really enjoyed working with that person. And that was 2005. It's now 2018. And, we have a project that's going together. And that's one thing that you should think about going forward, right? Like these relationships last a long time. And if you have a positive experience, A-okay. That's amazing, right? And so you want to make sure that you don't jump into a relationship too quickly, and you're kind of investigating what's going on, right? So hopefully that answers your question, and if it does, give me a thumbs up, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate it with all these different videos. So anyways, and if you have any other questions or anything, put comments below. That's cool. If I get the chance to answer them, that's great. You get to be the next test case with this, and you have to go do something nice. But that's great. That's actually makes life wonderful, right? So part of this project with the Reciprocity Project is I wanted to make the world a better place somehow. I know that's crazy, and I know that's sort of rose-colored glasses, but I think the world is truly amazing, and I think that there's amazing people out there. And if we can do this one thing at a time, we can really truly change the world and make it a very positive experience, particularly to graduate students who are going through sort of really tough times often. And if we just kind of work together, we could do something really wonderful. All right. Okay. Take care and have a great day. Bye.